Welcome, everyone, to the second episode of Clever Live, where we take you deeper down the rabbit hole of Bitcoin, the Clever ecosystem, and the crypto economy at large. So happy that you're all here. People are joining in, amazing, across Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. And today we have a special guest whom most of you do know from the Clever community quite well. He is the giver of givers, an philanthropist, a successful entrepreneur, a trader, an oil painter, a cartoonist, a carpet man. He's also a dear friend of mine and the entire Clever team. Let me introduce you all to G's from Jersey, Sam the Carpet Man.
Hi, Misha. Thank you for the warm introduction. Thank you for the accolades. Thank you for all that you do for Clever and the community. And I speak on behalf of the community. So thank you for that. We appreciate everything you do.
Thank you for being here. And
Thanks
thank
for
you
having me.
for all the support and the love and the friendship that you've shown us since the launch of Clever and even before that. So let's just dive right into it. Before we go into Clever, Bitcoin, and everything that we're doing inside of the crypto sphere, tell us, for those who don't know, tell us a little bit more about yourself, where you're from, and what you do today.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Sam the Carpet Man. For those of you who do not know me, I own mywaycarpet.com, where your way is my way. So My Way Carpet is
I love that.
it's subservient. We put the customer first, and the best, we put, our the customer's best interest at heart, and it means a lot to us. And so I have, this shop at home service, essentially where we bring our mobile store to your front door. We make the shopping experience a lot easier because let's face it, when picking out color selections, it's best that you look at it in the room that it's intended for, right? So we figured that it alleviated a lot of stress of the customer coming to the shop, the showroom, picking out the samples, going home, realizing that the samples don't work, and then having to repeat the whole process all over again.
Mhm.
So we figured, you know what, we have to simplify. We put the customer at first. We said, we'll go to them. And so we're prepared to give our customers pricing right on the spot, whereas most of our competitors take 2 to 3 weeks, at best 1 week. We try to, facilitate, the installation as quickly as possible. Our testimonials speak volumes of who we are. I've been doing this since 1998. And
It's quite a few
you know,
years,
yeah, since the 1900s.
well over 2 decades.
Yeah, indeed. And so, as you know, having a great track record, and we do have one, I'm confident and proud to say that we have probably, if not the best reviews in the nation when it comes to carpet and flooring. And
Not
as you
bad.
know, it's stressful. It's not hard to get those reviews. People think, oh, just because you're doing great, everything is, smooth sailing. It's not. We're always stressed on the back end, making sure our customers are happy. And for that reason, we almost never refer anyone. When customers, because of our track record, people want to use the people we patronize. And so they constantly call us, hey, Sam, who can I use for this? Who can I use for that? And so I've learned throughout the years to almost never refer anyone because it's on us, right? And we didn't want that because we work so hard, to deliver and to, put our customers first and to do the best and stand behind our products, and customer support. And so, that being said, me going out to the world and bringing awareness to Clever says a lot, especially from a guy who does not refer anyone. And
Where does that trust come from?
that's a good question, and I'm glad you asked me that because before I used Clever or invested in Clever, I used their products, and Clever didn't sell me anything. They launched this wallet. I needed a place to house my money. to store my money. And so, they created this wallet. I used it. I loved it. Um, I didn't invest in it. And so for the last few years, I've been using this wallet. Um, and so that alone said a lot to me. I'm sorry. I had a brain fart and I jumped from one thing to another. And so let's step back if you don't mind.
My pleasure.
Um,
Go on.
so I started my company in 1998, and had a retail store, and then decided to do a shop at home service several years later. Found that it was easier to do that, and then offer the shop at home service, and then years went by. Um, and we kept building and building and building, and eventually I landed a national account with LA Fitness, which was a big milestone in for My Way Carpet. And so shortly after I landed the national account with My Way Carpet, I mean with LA Fitness, I I got into a major accident where it literally put me in a wheelchair, and between a wheelchair and a walker for 5 years. They almost amputated my leg. My mom refused to sign the paper. So the doctor just went forward and he put me together, and then realized later that the procedure failed, and so they had to start the process all over again. And so it took 5 years to fix my leg. And so the reason why I share this story is because I receive a lot of hardship letters from people, and so I want to tell you that I can relate. I can relate. And I've been through hardships, and many of my hardships are life changing. And they weren't something that lasts a month or so. They were, hardships that lasted several years, and half a decade. And so I got myself through it, which is really important. And so keep that in mind. Um, you know, so I want to tell you basically that I can relate with you. So I wanted to take advantage of this time just to tell my users that, because it's difficult for me to respond to everyone through my messages. And, and so I'm taking this opportunity just to share with you, to tell you that I relate, I understand. I've gone through hardships, and the future is bright, and, the light is brighter on the other side, and you can make it through the hardships. All you have to do is take 2 steps back, 1 step forward, and you will get there. Just remember this: always make the right decision moving forward, and things will just get easier. So stay strong, and you know who you are. Okay, I received a lot of messages, and I try to do my best to respond. And
First of all,
so that
thank you very much for sharing that, because it's not a given that sharing this with a lot of people around the world, something that happened to you personally, and that struggle, and how you got that through. And there's so many people out there, not just in the Klever community, but in all walks of life, who go through crises, and especially during the times of Corona, it feels very lonely. But I think one of the beautiful things about the Klever family, and the global Klever community, is that we're here, and we listen, and we support whenever needed. And
indeed,
if someone needs an extra push, or an encouragement, uh, not just me and Sam, but thousands, and tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of us, even millions, are around the world there to engage and to support. So thank you, Sam, for sharing that with us, and keep that in mind, guys, when you see Sam out there on the Twitter app next time.
you're welcome. So this is why I give. Okay, not only because the irony of making someone else feel good is that it makes you feel good, is that I understand, and I don't. When I give, I at least I like to believe that I instill hope in people. So so just know that I'm here for you. I want the best for you, um, and you can do it. You can. The question is, do you want to, and how badly do you want to?
At Clever, we have a not just one saying, but we have one very strong saying that really permeates our company culture, and that is, "Your only limit is you." And that is
Exactly. Clever said it
so
best.
true. And it's actually from the words of our CEO and founder, Dio Ian Chiara. And it's something that rings through everything that we do. There's really no one stopping us at Klever from claiming what we think is the absolute best crypto product out there to become the largest one in the coming years. But also on a personal level, on a personal note, everything that we do, from developer to back end to front end to communications to marketing to HR, doesn't matter who. Everybody pushes themselves every day, all day, day and night, just to bring you the absolute best product out there. So before we get into a little bit deeper on that, I do want to ask you to share with everyone listening in, how did you get into Klever?
That's a good question. So in 2017, mid 2017, my younger brother introduced me to Bitcoin, and he told me, he said, "Dude, you have to get in on this. You know, this is the future. This is the new technology." And you know, I didn't know anything about crypto. I looked at it as a stock, okay, like everyone else. And then later, I learned that it wasn't a stock. So my first investment into crypto nearly dropped 50% within a week. And I turned to my brother. I go,
I
"You call
promise
this?"
you, you were not alone. A lot of people went through that.
And that was mid 2017. You know, before we hit 20,000, we were somewhere around, 1,800. I watched it go to 3,000, almost 3,000, and then it corrected back to 1,800. And I was in that fall. I remember I got in, I was super excited and went to 1,800 and I damned myself. I said, "Oh my God, what am I doing?" That sort of thing. And then I said, let me educate myself a little more. So I started reading a little bit more about Bitcoin and what it is, how it's going to help people, how it's going to change the human communication of value forever. And I had my aha moment. And I pretty much almost neglected everything around me just to learn more about this space. And so, reading countless books, watching countless hours of videos, I figured, because the average person asks me, what is crypto? What is Bitcoin? Because a lot of people still think it's money and it's bigger than money. And so I came up with this analogy to help people understand, before I get into Klever and what I think of Klever, I think people who are listening who don't know too much about crypto, they need to understand what this is. And then they'll start to understand themselves where we're going, how it's going to shape our future. And so I created, this is the, what do you call this? Paper plates that we have. Okay. Sometimes I don't like to wash dishes, so I use paper plates. And so
I hope that they're recyclable.
Yeah. So this, I would like to call this paper plate the traditional internet. Okay. What was the first application on the traditional internet? At least one of the first applications. Email. So email was one of the first applications, and no one really knew how to write a line of code to send mail from one address to another address. Okay. And so applications came about on the internet to make it easy for people to send mail. Okay. And one of those apps, America Online. And then Google came about. What did Google do? They solved the problem. They solved the search problem, right? Microsoft, what did they do? They created a browser. They said, you want to enter the world? Enter through this browser so you can search and do whatever it is that you want to do and navigate and surf. And so now you know that email is not the internet and internet is not email, because back in the day, several decades ago, when email was the first app, people used to refer to this internet as this new email thing and this new email thing as this new internet. They didn't realize the internet was a protocol and the internet was a protocol and email was just the first app. And so let's fast forward. Bitcoin is a whole new internet. Can you guess what the first application is on the internet? The e-money. And people are fixated on the money the way they were fixated on email. Okay. And you know that email is not the internet and internet is not email, right? So the e-money is not Bitcoin and Bitcoin is not the e-money. Okay. E-money is just the first app. So now, you know how we had America Online that made it easy for us to send email? Well, there are other apps that are making it easy for us to send the e-money from one address to another. No different than sending an email from one address to another. And so one of those apps is called Klever. Okay. And so you may say, well, why do we need a whole new internet? Why do we need a whole internet, Bitcoin internet? Why can't we use Venmo? We can create an e-money app on the traditional internet and call it Venmo or PayPal, right? We currently use it, right? And so Bitcoin, this is the most important part here, is a hack-proof internet. Hack-proof. What's that mean? So I want you to think of Bitcoin as a time machine. Whenever you stamp something on its network, it's there for life. You can never, ever, ever edit that information. And if you made a mistake and you stamped something, like for instance, a certificate of a car, a deed of a house, or whatever it is, you stamp it on a network, it's there for life. You can't edit it. If you made a mistake, all you can do is create another stamp referencing that transaction. Okay? So just think about that for a second. If we can operate on a hack-proof internet, think of the implications. Think about what we can do with this internet. Like, here, I'll give you an example. Voting. You could put the voting system on the internet where every vote is held accountable. Registration of a car. Whenever you go to a motor vehicle, you go into motor vehicles, they'll stamp your car, whatever it is, proof of purchase on the chain. So there's always a reference, okay, that proves ownership, that this came from Sam, right? But how does it know that it came from me? Okay, we have these things called wallets. Each wallet has a unique address. So when I use or pay for something through or send an invoice through my wallet, it knows it's coming from me. It has a unique stamp that cannot be duplicated. So it knows it's coming from me. So let's just say you're surfing the Bitcoin internet and you're on the internet and you see a transaction and you're not sure where it came from. Well, just look at the stamp. Oh, look, it came from Sam. I know that's Sam's stamp. That's his personal signature. So it came from me. It didn't come from a bad actor. And so I want you to understand that Bitcoin is bigger than just money, okay? And money is just the first application. And how this is going to shape the way we communicate. You're not going to want to work with anyone on the traditional internet because the apps on that internet are susceptible to being hacked, are susceptible, to somehow being compromised. Like, for example, TransUnion, Equifax, the credit bureaus, reporting agencies, they're built on the traditional internet. If they were built on the Bitcoin protocol, the Bitcoin internet, you wouldn't hear things like, 140 million, personal data or people's information were compromised. You won't hear that because they can't get through the internet. They just can't. It's impossible. I'm not going to get into how it's hack proof. You can research that later. I can share a link with you later. But just think about that. If you can operate on a network where, for instance, here, but actually, before I get into that, I'm sorry, I'm jumping ahead here. So the traditional internet has money applications, okay? And they limit you. So like, for instance, I use Venmo and Zelly and a few other apps. And so I'm constantly sending money from one app to another.
And they constantly limit how much you can send and how much
they
you can
do.
send, right?
Yeah, like Venmo limits me at $5,000. I said, well, I got to pay this guy $8,000. How am I going to do this? So I'm going through different, traditional money applications just to satisfy that payment. And with Bitcoin, you can send $20 billion right now without permission. It'll get there in seconds. You are your own bank. That's what that means. So Bitcoin.
There's another fascinating aspect of what you were touching upon, and you were talking about a time machine, right? That Bitcoin is a time machine. Well, Bitcoin is more than just a time machine. Bitcoin is a time machine of storage of energy. And that's what most people don't really understand yet about the Bitcoin protocol, that you can actually, by using energy to produce a block and mint and mine Bitcoin, you actually store energy in time. and then you can go and fetch it anytime you want. So it's a storage of energy, digital energy, as well as a time machine in both time and space. It's quite a fascinating and mind-blowing concept. But do please go in before to the story of how you got into Klever and why Klever is the app that you personally feel so strongly for.
Yeah, so I invested in this other coin on another network, and Clever created a wallet specifically for that network, and all the coins that were built on that network. So remember how we had the Bitcoin internet? Well, other applications came about like Ethereum, and Ethereum said, "Hey, we're a smart contracts platform. Build on us." And so and their argument was Bitcoin's not scalable. You can build video games and so forth on our internet. And so people were flocking to Ethereum and building applications on Ethereum until one video game basically shut down the entire network. And
Crypto
so,
kitties.
yes, exactly. And then people, and then there's one crypto project called Tron. They said, hey, you know what? Why don't you build on us? We're going to scale this. We're going to make this a lot faster, a lot easier. You can build thousands of games on here. Not a problem. So Tron was born. And, people started building applications on the Tron protocol. So think of Tron as another internet, right? And so Klever was an application on top of Tron's blockchain. They were basically using Tron's blockchain as the hack-proof internet to facilitate all the transactions that are happening in the Tron wallet app. Okay, so the Tron wallet app is basically owned by Klever, has nothing to do with Tron themselves. So it's just an app that they created and I used because I couldn't keep my money on these exchanges. So I put my money in this Tron wallet. And throughout the time that I was using it, I loved it so much. I said, gosh, I wish they create like a wallet for everything. I was tired of having, 5 to 8 different wallets. And you're constantly going in and you're staking and you're doing this. And it's just too cumbersome. I wanted a one-stop shop. I wanted something just all in one place. And then, so one day, as a token of my appreciation, as you know, I love my cartoons. And so I created a comic for Klever. Well, was Tron Wallet. And so I created a comic to thank them. And I sent it to Misha and I asked them, I said, hey, Misha, what do you think? I'm planning on tweeting this, as a token of my appreciation to give back a little bit to you guys. Thank you for all that you've done. And so he said, Sam, I love it. It's great. You can post it. But, just so you know, we're in a process of rebranding. I said, what? What do you mean rebranding? What's going on? And he said, yeah, we're going to be more than just a wallet. And we're going to house more than just Tron coins. And we're going to have Bitcoin and Litecoin and all these other coins in here. I said, wait, what? When is this going to happen? So, I was extremely excited. I was a little kid sitting on the edge of my seat, and I wanted to put everything in here. And so, I watched the rebrand, and started to use their wallet. And so, but before then, sorry, excuse me, I jumped ahead again. It's okay. Please forgive me. So
Please do go on.
So I used the wallet, right? I was extremely happy with it. And then I used it for over a year and they never sold me anything. Klever never sent me an email. Oh, and speaking of email, when you download this wallet, it's totally anonymous. They don't ask you for an email. They don't ask you for your name, age, social security number, nothing. Totally anonymous. You download it. No one knows it's your wallet unless you tell them it's your wallet. So you're in total control. And I love that about Klever because every other wallet that I've downloaded, and look, there are a lot of wallets that are great, or good, not as great. And so, but they always ask you for some sort of personal information. And the ones that really don't ask you for any personal information, it looks like I'm playing Atari. They're like really old, boring user interfaces. It's not exciting. I like going into the wallet. I like looking at the news app, always, trying to stay in the know, always double checking Klever social media platforms through the app because they list all the social media platforms, which I think is great because, they don't want to mislead anyone. This is who we are. This is what we're about. This is where you can find us, which is awesome. And so anyway, so I decided, so Klever gained my trust. Okay. They didn't sell me anything. Okay. They didn't ask me, to be an investor. So they just said, here, world, or here, Sam, Here's a wallet that you can use, go nuts. And so I fell in love with the wallet. And so I started to think, I go, wow, if this is what they've done with this wallet, imagine what they can do with everything else in the space. Anything that they put their hands on is turning into gold. Okay. And so at that moment, I was hooked. I said, sign me up. And so, and then I started to read their white papers. And interestingly, unlike a lot of other projects, Klever's white papers come with working products, and that's something that I really liked a lot. It's not just a promise to tell you, hey, this is what we're all about. This is what we're going to do. These are actually working products. Come use them. And so,
Yeah, we have a bit of a different approach. Anyone who's new to Klever, we have several white papers out. The original white paper from July 2020, the exchange white paper, the blockchain white paper, and so on. And each of those white papers, just like Sam says, we don't release them a year ahead and then build the product and wait until patience has rewarded people who've been with us. But instead, we actually have the product essentially ready for testing directly after. So white paper together with a product, I think, it's a lot more. It builds a lot more trust and more upfrontness with the community. So we're happy that you like that approach.
yeah, definitely. And what I like even more? So you have this wallet, okay, called Klever Wallet. And so not only do they give you full control over your funds, they also have other services in this wallet that you can utilize. You don't have to use them, but you could. And so, like here, I'll give you an example. So in the wallet, I'm a trader and I love to trade. Okay. And so in this wallet, they have what they call is a swap feature, is where you can swap one coin for another. And so as a trader, okay, I said, oh, I'm just going to go to the exchange. I'm going to do the professional way. This is how I'm going to do it. And then from time to time, I'll dibble and dabble and I'll swap one thing to another. And then I literally, realized that, at one point, all I'm doing is swapping. I'm not going anywhere. And so I loved it. And so it was easy, it's fast, and they're constantly improving. So that's one feature that I love about this wallet, that they have a swap feature in here, and it happens quickly.
It's addictive, right? By the way. It's really addictive. I just like you used to trade a lot on different exchanges throughout the globe, where you have to give up a lot of information first and foremost, and then you have to put your orders and you have to sit and wait, and there's something absolutely magical about Klever Swap. Right? We have more than 300 trading pairs. Literally every major chain and coin and token in the world is there, and you just press a button. It saves you time, saves you money, it gives you more specifically comfort. So I mean, I'm not an avid user of Klever Swap. I essentially only use Klever Swap for
Indeed,
all
same.
the trading needs, and yeah, it's the best. I mean, honestly.
And yeah, and so there's this other feature that I really like in here. It's called the Klever Browser. So for those of you who do not know what Klever Browser is, think of it like a Safari, Google Chrome, but on steroids. An Internet Explorer, but on steroids. So let me tell you what I mean by that. So remember how I said before you need a browser to enter the traditional internet so you can surf things, right? Well, we also have a Klever browser where you can enter not only the traditional internet, okay, and you can visit sites like Klever.io or mywaycarpet.com or what have you. Sorry, I had to put that plug in. And so you can visit the decentralized world. And you know what the benefit of visiting the decentralized world from the Klever browser is? That, remember, this wallet is your identity. It has specific keys in this wallet that's attached to only you and cannot be duplicated. So when I enter a decentralized site through the Klever browser, it knows that I'm coming from my wallet, my keys. And as simple as clicking a button, it'll connect my wallet, directly to that site. So if I want to transact, I want to send an invoice, or if I want to send money, or I want to, whatever it is I want to do, I can do that anonymously without anyone knowing. I don't have to provide my username, my password. It gets rid of username and passwords. Remember, your wallet is the key. Your wallet is your identity. And so using Klever browser is phenomenal. I could only imagine, the capabilities of and where this is going, because we're still at the infancy stage. Remember, the traditional internet, when email first came about, America Online made it easy to send email, right? That was just the first app, and then now you have millions of applications on here. So think of the internet, the crypto world, as this internet, and all these cryptocurrencies that you hear about, the altcoins, alternative coins, those are all hack-proof internets. Okay, every single one of them are hack-proof internets. And some hack-proof internets will specialize in things, others won't. And so that's why some people may say, well, why do we need this? Why do we need this coin? Why do we need that coin? Well, no different than why do we need Google? Why do we need America Online? Why do we have Amazon? Every app specializes in its key, whatever it is that they want to specialize in. And so crypto is that way. So it's just a matter of time until all these applications on the traditional internet start to either migrate over to the crypto internet, or they somehow incorporate their sites to work with the decentralized sites. So people like you and me can enter through a Klever browser and connect seamlessly and, do our shopping and do whatever it is that we want to do through these browsers. And so the Klever browser, don't sleep on that. That's big. That's
it's a gateway,
really big.
a
Exactly,
massive
it's a gateway. That's how you enter
an
the
even
cryptosphere.
larger blockchain and crypto world, just full of so many incredible decentralized applications on Ethereum, Tron, Binance Smart Chain, Polygon, and Kusama now supported right inside the Klever browser. A lot has happened and a lot more to come. So do always stay tuned. So I do have another question, because you have so much passion and love and commitment and trust into everything that we do at Klever. So what does Klever mean to you?
It's a good question. Freedom. Freedom. That's as simple as that. Imagine where you're in this world where you are free to do and transact with anyone, anywhere, without any borders, without permission. Freedom. Freedom. That's what it means to me. And, I always say that Klever is the Apple of crypto. And I'll tell you what that. So I'll tell you what that means. Remember how, we have this wallet that they created, the swap. They're constantly solving problems. In order for this to work, you have to solve a problem that people can, and provide products and services people can use. And so that's what Klever is doing. And so here's another thing, for instance, SDK. If you read their white paper, you would see in there that they talk about the SDK, Software Developers Kit. And what that means is, just to simplify, I'm not going to get into any of the technicals. Back here, well, you can't see it. I have a light switch. I bought it from Home Depot. It's a smart switch. The smart switch company is not in the software business. They're in the hardware business. So they depend on companies like Apple to provide them with the software developers kit so they can incorporate it in the hardware. So guys like you and me could take advantage and enable us to have Siri turn these lights on and off. Without that kit, that's not possible. Okay, because these hardware companies are, again, they're not in the software business, so we depend on companies like Apple and Microsoft and so forth and Google. And so Klever is doing just that. Okay,
I love that, by the way.
Excuse me.
I love that. You just interchange it.
I'll use Apple and Klever interchangeably. Yeah, that's indeed. And so Klever is doing that, and so they're making it easier, because look, why are they doing that? Because they know that crypto is a whole new language. You can't just go out and teach these traditional developers anything about crypto. Well, you could try to educate them, but it's a whole new language. And so Klever understands that. So how do they solve that problem? They say, look, we will build for you. Use this. Just plug and play. Use this API. Okay. So businesses are going to utilize this. Remember, Klever's internet. In order to operate on this, you need some sort of software, right? So Klever is going to provide us with all of that. No different than when you go to GoDaddy and you want to launch a website and you buy a domain and they have these website builders. That's Klever. And so that's why I refer to Klever as the Apple of crypto. You know, they're solving problems constantly. And now I'm really excited about the hardware wallet.
Yes, the hardware wallet
Oh
is
my
going to be the
goodness.
next level of security for the entire
Stocking
Klever
stuffers.
community.
That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to buy, if I could. Okay. I want to buy as many as I possibly
Resale
can.
Q4, guys. It's on.
I can't wait for
It's
that.
definitely
The
on.
sleek design. Honestly, it reminds me of Apple. It does. You know, when they launch their products and, you know, I just love the services that Klever offers. You know, if and I said this before, if Klever invents a car tomorrow, I'm the first person who's going to buy that car.
We'll get
If
there.
you create
Give us a
solar
decade.
panels, I'm buying solar panels.
Great, great. Well, there is another major product coming up within a day, actually. The testnet for the Klever chain is going to officially launch. It's going to be an internal testnet where everyone around the world will be able to actually see each transaction on an Explorer. And then in November, the public testnet will open up to selected users. And you have dived a lot, you know, into the Klever chain and understand especially how we approach the elimination of scammers and how do you see
Exactly,
that?
and that's what I like about it because you know Clever's blockchain. You know, it's they're getting rid of smart contracts and they're creating Klever contracts, which is basically the trigger function happens on the blockchain rather than outside of the blockchain. Okay, it's like imagine this is what a smart contract is for people who don't know what a smart contract is. And so you have a hack-proof internet right here. Okay, so a smart contract basically is saying, hey, let's step over here. Let's create an agreement with one another, and then we're going to walk over to the blockchain and we're going to stamp it. Okay, whereas Klever contracts, the Klever internet, where we're both standing or sitting on the chain itself, and we both stamp the transaction there where it was intended, right? And so,
In other words, each application, each feature, each trigger is designed to be integrated natively into the blockchain, making it immensely more secure and reliable and faster. So it's a
exactly because smart
fascinating new
contracts were
way
hacked.
to eliminate both scammers because we're going to allow the community to vote for who actually can build on top of the blockchain through the KFI token, and making sure that smart contracts, who are it's a massive vulnerability in terms of security today on smart contract platforms across Binance Smart Chain, Ethereum, Tron, and many others, Solana, because not everybody is technically literate and know exactly what to read in a smart contract. So instead, we remove the complexity, introduce more simplicity, and thereby upping the security. So that's the
I
idea.
agree, and I'm glad you said that. Thanks for sharing that. And Misha mentioned the KFI token, the governance token, and what does that mean? So Klever has an internet, okay, and it's a permissioned internet. So, and the reason why it's permissioned, so think of this, for example, Apple. When you want to launch an application on Apple, right, you submit a request to the Apple Store, and they have to make sure it's lawful, make sure that they're not trying to scam anyone, and so um, they. Sorry, I was reading something. Someone sent me a text message, and I got distracted. So let me get back to this. So Klever, what they're doing is they have this internet where. Sorry, I lost my train of thought one more time.
It's
It's okay.
fine.
It
Sometimes we
happens.
pick up our train of thoughts in the most in the absolutely most unexpected way. So
Yes, thank you for
there
that,
we
Nizam.
are.
Yeah, here we go. So Klever is no different than Apple, right? So they're like, hey, come build on us, innovate, no problem. But we're going to have the community govern this ecosystem. So what's that mean? So so basically, the community get to vote, applications in and out of the ecosystem. And so what that does is, it prevents scammers and from actually wanting to come and innovate on our protocol. And so, again, we're not in the market to, we really don't want to go out and ban people. However, but if we have to, we'll do that to protect the community. But the whole idea is to make it less attractive for bad actors. Hence,
User
creating.
protection is so essential as part of our business model at Clever, and that's why our support team, led by Matthijs Bock, is top in the entire industry, absolutely world class. Because protecting our users, making sure they don't fall for scammers, fraudsters, is really one of our absolute top priorities. So yeah, you're absolutely right.
Indeed, just like Apple. It's like, when you go to an Apple site, I mean, the App Store, and you download an app, you don't think twice, like, oh, maybe someone's gonna hack me, or whatever it is. You don't think twice because you trust Apple, and they have a proven track record. And that's how I feel with Clever. And so whenever they launch a new app on the chain, I'm in instantly. I'm all for it. Everything that they create is healthy, and they put the user's best interest at heart, and that's what I love about that. Um, you know, the people at Clever are great. The community is great. Um, yeah,
But we still
that's
have a
what excites
long
me.
road ahead. Go into our
We do.
roadmap, you'll understand there's a lot more coming, and there's constantly things being built behind the scenes. The team is growing every day, over 100 developers, 120 staff in total around the world. And it's all thanks to you, the community supporting us every day across all platforms and using our products and using our apps. But I do want to ask you something. We launched the
Sure.
Clever Exchange on web, iOS, and Android very recently. And you are an experienced trader. You've traded for years. How do you feel and how do you approach the new Clever Exchange? And what are your thoughts about it?
Good question. So I used to trade a lot, and I found that it was pretty cumbersome. And I lost a lot of money at first because I really didn't know what I was doing, and so it was hard to navigate. It was hard to locate what I was looking for. And Clever Exchange solved that problem. They just made it really easy. Even from the footer, they have 5 buttons at the bottom. That's it. Simple, right? Because the whole idea of an exchange is to enter this place and exchange one token for another, right? And so Clever simplify that. There were times I can tell you where I tried. I'm not going to name the exchange apps, but I would help my friends and walk them through all these other exchange apps, and it was quite frustrating, honestly. And I was frustrated when I ended the call, and it took me over an hour. And then after that, it made me feel even horrible because they still didn't figure it out. They still weren't able to trade, and then they just gave up. Okay, and Clever Exchange solved that. I love, I love how simple you made it. It's colorful. The buttons are large. It's to the point. It's fast. And the most, the thing that excited me the most about the exchange is the back end. So there are several dozen different trading pairs, and each trading pair is essentially has its own engine. Think of it that way, right? So if, let's just say, they had a problem with Bitcoin USDT trading pair, the exchange will still function. That trading pair will just go down for maintenance rather than shutting the whole entire ecosystem down.
In other
Whereas
words, if you guys are not familiar with the tech behind Clever Exchange, it's built on top of an architecture that uses autonomous order books, which means that each order book is, just like Sam says, its own trading engine, and one does not affect the other, which makes the entire design of the trading platform very, very, very strong and reliable. So that's exactly why we built it in such a way, and making sure that it's for the future, right? It's not about what happened 2, 3, 4 years ago, but instead using new technology to innovate and constantly build proprietary and new tech.
Indeed. And I wanted to mention something else about Klever and what they're doing, and these NFTs, and a lot of people who are listening to this, a lot of my friends who are tuning in who aren't into crypto and really don't understand. You may hear buzzwords like NFT and things like that. So what that basically is, it's a non-fungible token, right? So think of an NFT as a property with permissions, right? Where if, like, for instance, the YouTube content creators and all these content creators, what are they doing when they launch a streaming site? They put it on YouTube, and YouTube will probably make several $1,000s on whatever video, and they provide the YouTube content creator a small percentage. Whereas with NFTs, you own the content. If someone wants to watch it, you can adjust and add permissions where if this person wants to download this video, they can, but they have to pay me 5 cents, 2 cents.
Remove
Where
the
now we're
middleman and all the revenue to you.
exactly, because that's the essence of this technology. It eliminates the middleman. Just imagine this technology enabling you to run decentralized, trustless systems that doesn't rely on anyone as an intermediary of trust. And that's the disruption here. You're removing the middleman. And so I'm sorry to say this, but it's going to disrupt the industry, not the crypto industry, but the traditional industry. And I'll tell you how. He's a perfect example. And just remember this line, though. Bitcoin is not a bubble. It's the pin popping all bubbles. Okay. Remember, it's removing the middleman. Okay. So here's a perfect example. Realtors, I'm sorry, but there's going to come a day where this world's not going to need a realtor. And I'm very sorry to say that, because, once I stamp my home on the blockchain, there's my proof. It's mine. I own it. It's registered to me. And so I can easily transfer that deed to someone else without the need of anyone. And the blockchain allows us to do this. And so, this is just the beginning. And I'm really excited about where this is going. I'm really excited to be part of the Klever ecosystem. I'm really excited, for every product that comes out from Klever. It's like I'm like a little kid at the candy store.
So talk about that. What products are you most excited about in the Klever product line coming out?
Honestly, it's unfair to say one. It's all of them. Every single one solves a problem. Look, think about this for a second. Not only is Klever giving us products to use in the real world today, right? But they're also testing things. Like, not too long ago, they created a social media platform. And, they didn't make a big deal about it. They're like, hey, guys, we just created a social media platform. Test it out. This is just testing. Let us know what you think. Just like that. So they're constantly innovating. They're constantly solving problems. Again, it's just a matter of time until the apps on the traditional internet migrate over to the crypto internet. So you guys are doing a great job. And thank you for that. Thank you. Thank you a lot.
And thank you for being you, and continue to share the love and share your education with others, and continue to promote. It's a fascinating thing to work with you and to grow with you, and everyone in Klever doesn't just appreciate your support, but all of your support throughout the world. And there's a lot of people joining in from every corner of the world, which is really, really awesome. I do want to touch, before we go into a few questions from the community, I do want to touch a little bit about giving and charity, because using blockchain technology, you can suddenly have a very direct, transparent, instant way to give to charity and to give to anyone in need. How do you personally approach? You give a lot through Klever, and how do you see this giving through the blockchain?
Good question. When you say how do I see this giving through the blockchain, what do you mean? Like the ease of use, you know,
Charity will be transformed using cryptocurrencies,
yeah. So
and
honestly,
you're a perfect example of that. You give a lot. So how has using crypto and using blockchain, using Klever, changed that for you?
well, it made it easier for me to give and without any restrictions, which is great. And so if that's what you mean, um, I'm sorry, I don't quite understand the question.
That giving around the world, borderless transactions, instant to anyone who needs it, has completely transformed using crypto and using blockchain. And you use that a lot, right? You give a lot as a
Right,
philanthropist.
I do. And I like to give because the irony of making someone else feel good is that it makes you feel good, right? And so, some of my friends they laugh, and they'll make a joke and they say, "Oh, you're selfish." I go, "So what? I can be selfish. I want to feel good, right? So if it means to help someone else to make me feel good, I'm going to do it, right?" And so we both win. You win and I win. And so Klever, allows me to do that. And I'll tell you how it allows me to do that. Okay, so which is great because in Klever, it's one thing we didn't talk about, but we can talk about that another time. Is there's this thing where you can stake your coins to earn more. Okay, and so that's what I do. I stake. So you're basically locking up your coins to earn interest. And so I take that interest money and I help other people in need throughout the world and throughout the country, and to bring awareness. And because what I've learned is that the Klever ecosystem, the Klever wallet, is something that is best demonstrated and experienced than explained, right? So that's what I do. So when I
100%.
meet people, right? So when I meet people, I try to demonstrate something. Say, "Hey, check this out," and then they would look at it and say, "Wow, I just received it." I go, "We just did a wire. We just did a wire, and it's settled. It took seconds." Like,
And
what?
it's instant. That
And it's
instant
instant. And whereas,
gratification is so important.
right, imagine waiting 2-3 days. I mean, just the other day, my own brother gave me a check, okay, and the bank, deducted the money from his account, and they held it on me. It's like my own brother. It was like 11 days, 8 days. They said that they're going to release the funds. Ridiculous,
No, no, no,
right?
no. There's
So
nothing like self-banking with Klever. Just get out of the banking system and self-bank. It's so much more efficient. It's the feeling of true ownership is something that crypto, Bitcoin, and Klever really, really gives to millions of people around the world. And
indeed, and you know what I tell my
it's a gift
friends
to be
when
able
I
to give it.
And you know what I tell my friends and strangers? I tell them, look, use their products. You don't have to invest in Klever if you don't want to. That's fine, but use their products. But their products, will provide you with a discount if you were to hold a little bit of Klever. So what's that mean? So let's just say I wanted to swap something from one coin to another. If I wanted to swap some Bitcoin to Klever, so I would use, I'll swap some Bitcoin to Klever, and then it would ask me, hey, because you're your own bank and you're doing the swap, you're going to operate on this network. How would you like to pay for the fee? Hey, if you use Klever, we'll save you a percentage of the fees. So that's what I do. So, that's why I encourage my friends. I go, look, just hold a little bit of Klever so you can use it amongst their ecosystem, throughout their ecosystem. And that's what I love about Klever, because it's a true utility. It's a true utility. It's not just a white paper telling you, hey, we're this, that, and the other thing, and buy this coin as if it were a share. It's not a share of a company. You have to use these coins. So when people ask me, well, how do you know what projects to invest in? And I always use Klever as a perfect example. I go, look, just remember this. The coins of a company, of a blockchain, is not the stock of a company, right? So you have to be able to use it. There has to be some sort of utility, some sort of use case. And so that's what I like about Klever. Everywhere throughout all the products, you're able to benefit, with reducing your fees by using the Klever as an option. So again,
So
you don't.
indeed, we do have to round up soon. We just have a few minutes left, and we do want to
Wow,
get to
that was
some
an hour
questions.
already.
Yeah, it went very fast. It's been fascinating to talk to you and hear your insights and
Thank
hear your
you.
experiences. And you've shared some really, also uh, deep stories about what happened to you in the past. I do want to hear more about it another time. But let's jump right directly into just a few questions before we head out. Um, so, from the community, someone asked, "How do you see Clever in 5 years from now?" Quick answers.
Okay, that's a good question. Um, Solving many problems.
Very, very good answer. Yeah, for sure. How excited are you, Sam, about the Clever Chain testnet launch happening tomorrow?
I'm at the edge of my seat. I'm really excited. I'm always pumped about every product that ever comes out. Every product that ever comes out, I'm really psyched about it. Yeah, really excited.
And
As you
and
can see, I plaster Clever everywhere. Throughout my hometown, on my car, in my in my garage. I have these stickers everywhere. On my phone, on my hat, my shirts, everywhere. I plastered Clever everywhere. You can see the passion. It just like
most
screams.
importantly, it's on your heart and inside of your heart, and that is something that we can all feel, and it's palpable, not just the love,
But
but
can
the
I just say
passion
one
that you're
thing
putting.
though? Other than
Yes,
Clever,
sure,
Clever's ecosystem, and yes, I'm excited about their products and everything. But you know what I really invest in? I invest in people. And Clever has a superb team, a superb um, um, founder and head of IT, back end developers, front end developers, design team. They're state of the art. And you know what? If they make a mistake, they're not afraid to admit it. And they fix it. They're on top of it. And that's what I love about Clever. I just feel like I'm part of the family with Clever. And I say this
failures
as a
are the
community
only
member.
road to success. That's for sure. You have to fail in order to succeed. There's no other way.
And Clever is not afraid to test things.
For sure. For sure. How else
You
would
know,
we know it works?
and
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 that's the
I get.
beauty of it. Also, we have so many users testing our products. So even before it's out, Clever Exchange was tested by 20,000 beta testers, which is just like an incredible thing because you gather feedback from every person around the world, whether whatever walk of life they are, which country they come from, affluent, poor, it doesn't matter. They give us feedback and then we implement. But last question, we have to really head out soon. What is the future plans for Clever Comics? Short answer.
Yes, I would eventually in the future would like to create NFTs and publish them on the Clever chain. I could have done it now on all these other networks, but I didn't want to. I'm waiting for Clever.
Amazing. Amazing. Well, that rounds out our hour of Clever Live with Sam. Thank you so much, Sam, for joining us and sharing your passion and your love and your insights. And thank you, everyone out there, for joining in and commenting and popping questions. And do please give a like, subscribe on YouTube. And next week, we have a very, very interesting guest, a partner of ours, CEO of a major company. We will reveal it tomorrow on Friday, so stay tuned. Who will be the guest next week? And until next time, stay hungry, be clever.
Thank you.